Hey everyone, Thornton Smash here, resident Apex Predator, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the more controversial legends that have recently come up, and that's going to be Wattson. Now, a lot of people are not big fans of how Wattson has been treated. Although she has picked a ton in pro play in the public levels, people just aren't finding her very useful, especially with the new map Olympus, which is so wide open that using her as a gatekeeper or to hold a building really isn't a viable option anymore for her. And Respawn devs have come out and said they have no plans of buffing her in the future. And that is mainly due to the fact that she is a very high pick rate in pro matches. However, pro players only take up 0.1% of the entire Apex community and population. So not doing something for that small of a margin, leaving the 99.9% of us remaining that would like to have a buff to Wattson and make her more viable in those public matches, is kind of head scratching. But let's go ahead and look some more into why this is such a huge issue and what Respawn has officially said on the record. Now, in a recent Reddit post, Paquette went ahead and went over some of his Wattson issues, and it got over 15,000 upvotes and over 100 awards, basically because everyone in the community feels the same way as this gentleman. And he basically points out, look at all the professional teams that have a Wattson in the stack, she is so powerful, basically imitating what Respawn has been saying, yet in the ALGS Grand Finals, there wasn't a single Wattson. She's useless in the public, especially in the open map like we've already talked about. She just doesn't have a lot of skill set that makes her familiar for 99.9% of the community, and this falls under the same guidelines of them taking away Kings Canyon on the map setup. They did that because pro players were not happy with having to play ranked on Kings Canyon, and this is just another instance of pro players really changing the curve of the game to make it so that everyone has to suffer for them to be happy, which I'm personally not a fan of. The game audience should not cater to that 99.9%, especially when there are whales out there that buy these microtransactions. They're the ones actually supporting the game and bringing in revenue for it. Yet somehow the only voice that is heard is pro players. Especially, even more mind-boggling is, there's 15,000 people here who have an issue, yet Respawn is saying, well, pro players want it. That just doesn't fly with me. Now, Respawn devs actually got a chance to see that thread, and they actually went ahead and responded, and here's that image from Daniel Z Clean. And basically, he goes over saying that he did see a ton of Wattsons in the tournament. Great, fine, whatever. I didn't see any personally, but that's on him. And he's basically saying, why isn't she picked more in the third paragraph? And that's because humans aren't robots that are optimized for winning. We play because it's fun, and clearly there's something in her play pattern that isn't super fun for most people. And that's why he won't be fixing it, because overall pro players can use her very effectively. Now this is where I kind of have a breakdown and I'm losing my wits with Respawn. So you're telling me that there's a character that is really good for pro players to use, but the majority of the fan base doesn't like her because she isn't fun to play, so you're not going to change her. That makes absolutely zero sense to me. The game is supposed to be played for fun. It's a game, yet you won't change something because it would make it more fun. I cannot get my mind around that logic. Now, at the end of the paragraph, he basically states that he could be convinced to give her a buff just to throw Wattson mains a bone, but that it won't fix anything. And that is just a very lazy tactic to take as a game developer. Not necessarily giving her a buff, but maybe reworking to make her more fun and exciting. No one likes to sit in a building for the entire game putting up fences and then having a thing that cancels grenades. Give her something that can make her more exciting, a la Octane. Octane is probably one of the worst legends in the game in terms of effectiveness and help in the battlefield. Yet he's one of the most picked because he's really fun to play as. I'm sure they could work something with that with Wattson. To basically sum up this video, in short, I'm not a huge fan of the developers cycling a game around competitive play when the public lobby population is so high. This isn't Counter-Strike where people are playing tournaments and it's very highly competitive. This also does have the potential to be highly competitive, but because it's still so new and fresh to a lot of people enjoy the free-to-play game and want to jump in and play. So limiting characters' potential fun is really an issue there when it's such a popular game. Now, if you like the video, go ahead and like and subscribe. I will keep you up to date if we do see any more buffs with characters. But for now, this is all that we know about Wattson going into the next season and for where she's going to be staying on Season 7. Until next time, Legends, keep slaying in the Outlands.